Hello, guys, and welcome to the Sprint to Sociology course. The objective of this course is to make you understand the sociology course, sociology optional for the UPSC exam, as fast as possible. Right, so we will begin with why you should choose sociology for UPSC. So, sociology has a few positive points, which makes it an extremely attractive option for UPSC, and that's why a lot of candidates take it. Right, it's one of the most popular optionals. Uh, so let's begin. Why sociology for UPSC? Right, the first most important point is that it has a very short syllabus. This you would have heard a lot, right? A lot of first attempt is clear in sociology. It can be covered in 3-4 months, right? But at the same time, some people take years to grasp it, right? So why sociology is not about facts which have to be mugged up, right? Like, let's say, geography, right? It's more about concepts which you have to understand to analyze what you read, right? It requires conceptual clarity. So that really depends on what you read, how you read it, right, and what information you have. And another thing about sociology is that in the question paper, UPSC question paper, a lot of questions are repeated, right? Because a lot of concepts in sociology are same. So suppose they ask the same question, like stratification of classes, short note, right? Different years, social facts. So what differentiates the answer between two students, right? The differentiation is in the sociological perspective, if you understood that or not. So if one student has understood the sociological perspective, right? So a question like Narega, short note on Narega, it has come in the exam. The so the student can write a sociological answer, whereas the second student who does not understand the sociological perspective will be writing a GS answer, general studies answer, right? So this is the sociological perspective which we will try to give you in this series of lectures. Some people take some time to understand it, some people do it very fast, right? So but our aim is to help you in each stage to get it as fast as possible. And also there is a lot of overlap between sociology and everything else in UPSC preparation. Like in the essay, one or two topics are always related to somewhat sociological topics, so you already have a lot of further points for that essay. In the GS, there is a direct relation in GS paper 1, society, right? That's a topic. And in the interview, it will help you a lot, because one of the things about sociology is that after a point you'll have to read current affairs and then analyze it sociologically, right? So that helps in interview, and plus it changes the way you analyze things. So this is a big change you will have, especially if you're coming from engineering or have no relation to humanities and arts. That's why sociology is one of the most attractive optionals for UPSC preparation. So enough about why sociology is so great, right? So let's first know what is actually sociology. So the purpose of the whole course is to answer this question. But if I had to put it in extremely simple and crude form, I would say that sociology is the study of society. The UPSC syllabus is devised such that it will teach you some classical and contemporary thinkers, and we will be teaching you in a way that you also know the evolution of the subject, how different perspectives came over time, right? Because it has been an evolution, so it's a history of sociology, you could say. And we'll be teaching you the concepts which each of those thinkers have given. So in the simplest terms, sociology is a study of society. The difference is in how different people think. What is society? What is society external? Does society have control over the person, or is it made up of the free will of all the people? Right? So depending on what you think is society, the way you study it also differs, right? So that is the basic difference, you could say, among all the different perspectives. In the UPSC syllabus, uh, we will mix around a few chapters so that this is the way we think is the best way to study sociology. The whole spring to sociology will be divided into three phases. The first phase, which this video will talk about, is the introduction to sociology. Here we'll be doing around 4 chapters from paper 1 and 1 chapter from paper 2. So this phase will give you introduction about what sociology is all about, what are the different perspectives, what is the research methodology, how do sociologists conduct sociological research, and a little bit of introduction about Indian sociology in paper 2. So we begin with chapter 3, right, which is the thinkers. So this is the most important chapter in paper 1, and you could say in the whole of the syllabus. And people spend a lot of time on this. You have to understand what each of the thinkers said, and what he thought. And because the rest of the chapters is just an application, you could say, of their way of thinking. In the syllabus, there are only 6 thinkers, but we'll be beginning with Auguste Comte, because he coined the word sociology. So Comte thought that sociology is a science, so it should be studied scientifically. That means scientifically, even though he didn't believe in numbers, right? The Durkheim brought that in, but scientific as in observation, right? Empiricism and all that. Then came Karl Marx. So he is associated with the Marxist perspective in sociology, right? He was a big critical of capitalism, and you can see him getting relevant more and more today after the 2008 financial crisis, the rising inequality, right? And he is on the newspapers every day, and he literally had a huge effect on human history. Then we have Emile Durkheim. He is what is called as a functionalist. He believed in a society which is an entity of its own. So you will understand this way of thinking too as we go ahead. Then you have Max Weber, right? Very famous guy. He is in public administration too. So but he is a sociologist primarily. You must have heard his theory about bureaucracy and all that. So Max Weber represents a perspective which is called as the social action theory. He believes that the subject matter of sociology is studying social action, right? The actions people perform, because ultimately society consists of people, right? But this action is not instinctual, right? You burnt your finger and you cry. No, that is not social action. Social action is the action you do after giving some thought to it, right? Like elder comes to your house, then you bow before him, right? You have thought of some action and then you have done it, right? Then we will study Talcott Parsons. So these are some of the contemporary thinkers, contemporary as in 1950s. So Talcott Parsons was also a functionalist. Same Robert Merton. Robert Merton was a student of Parsons. He somewhat modified Parsons' theory, right? So what Parsons thought of was, he constructed a theory in which the society controls the free will of the people, right? So if you think that you're free to do anything, I'm very sorry to tell you, according to Parsons, all your choices are constrained by society. So you're not as free as you think you are. And lastly, we'll come across Med. So Med is also a totally different perspective of sociology, right? For him, sociology is really, it only means people, right? There is no such macro entity which controls everyone. So he'll study more about the interaction among people, right? How it leads to creation of rules which we have in society, right? Norms and all that. So this is called as the interpretative approach to sociology. We'll see all this in detail as we go along. Then we come to chapter 2. So this chapter is better understood after you know the history of sociology, right, which is chapter 3. In chapter 2, it says it is sociology is a science, but we'll be doing everything, right? Why sociology is a science, why sociology is not a science, why science thinks it is a science, and why science itself is not a science, right? It's somewhat, it's funny, you'll say. Then we come to chapter 1, which is sociology, the discipline. So after you have gone through the concepts, now you'll be in a better position to understand, to understand in detail how the evolution gradually happened, how sociology as a subject compares to other social sciences, right? This is the first chapter, but I didn't want to do it first because the comparison with other social sciences doesn't make sense, right, if you don't know what the subject itself is, right? So by chapter 2 and chapter 3, we'll be doing what sociology is. Now you'll be able to understand how you can compare it with other things. Ultimately, we'll be providing notes for that. Then we come to a brief introduction into Indian sociology. We'll be doing the subtopic A, in which there are some thinkers like Indology, given by G.S. Gruhe. Then we have M.N. Srinivas and A.R. Desai. And we'll be doing the impact of colonial rule on Indian society, which is split into four subtopics. First is social background of Indian nationalism, right? Somewhat of the matter is related to a book written by Desai, right? How the social background of the people involved in the freedom struggle changed, affected the freedom struggle. Second, we'll be doing modernization of Indian tradition, right? This is based on a book by Yogendra Yadav, and we'll be seeing how the Indian culture has changed with respect to influences from outside and from within, and also maintained continuity, right? Then we come to protest movements during the colonial period and social reforms. So this is, you realize that this is history, right? But in this chapter, we'll see how to analyze these things sociologically. So I guess you guys are ready to sprint to sociology. We'll be sprinting very, very fast. But our only concern is that you understand the concepts and you are extremely comfortable in doing sociology. That is the ultimate goal. This sprint is split into two parts. First is the paid course, second is the free course. Right? In the free course, all content is free. That means all videos will be uploaded. We have a Telegram group, which is Sociology for UPSC, in which there is public discussion and doubt solving. Right? We will also do answer review, but in the public forum, where I and others will come and review your answers. Then second is the paid mentorship course. So this is a personalized course for people who really want personalized attention, and because we'll be investing some time and resources into this, we will be giving notes and references, right? We will be having a test series with answer writing and review personally for each candidate. We'll have sessions of interaction with sociology toppers and other selected civil servants. We'll have doubt solving sessions regularly, and we'll be gearing up completely for mains 2019 with respect to sociology, right? So I'm glad to have you guys here, and let's just begin. There's no time.